So I'll be talking now about the 10 best native keystone species for sunny areas in the San Francisco Bay Area. A quote from Doug Tallamy: by including native plants in our gardens, we can create life, and by using non-native plants, we can prevent it. So I'm sure you're dying to know what our own local keystone species are. And my husband and I made this graph. So on the left are our local native plants that are easy to find in native plant nurseries. They're easy to grow. The number on the bottom of the graph is the number of species of butterflies and moths that can lay eggs on that plant. So these keystone species include oaks. They're on the left. 270 species of lepidopterans, or butterflies and moths, can lay their eggs on them. Manzanitas, California lilac, lupines, and I'll be talking about these plants and more in this presentation, and I'll be talking about shady keystone plants tomorrow. The data used to make this graph was provided by Doug Tallamy, and the research was done here on our own plants in the Bay Area. On the right are non-native plants that are commonly found in home gardens. As you can see on the right, plants that have zero value to wildlife include lawn, ginkgos, crepe myrtles, Australian tea trees, ice plant, red hot pokers, periwinkle, agapanthus, and sweet alyssum. Plants that have almost no value to wildlife include eucalyptus, cotoneaster, tree of heaven, acacia, impatiens, and forget-me-nots. If you have these plants in your garden, you might consider replacing them with native plants that help support wildlife. So let's talk now about what the best plants for wildlife are. So oaks are powerhouses for ecological sustainability. As Doug just said, 270 species of butterflies and moths can lay their eggs on oaks here in California. Oaks not only help wildlife, but a mature tree will help you keep your house cool in the summer, and it will also raise your property value. And you may be thinking, well, but I don't have a mature tree like this. And I wanted to change. Oaks are so important. I wanted to show you another slide. So this is my own front yard. And no, we don't always have an outhouse out front, but we did at that time. So this is the oak on the left-hand side of our driveway, and there's a buckeye on the right. My husband and I planted the oak 25 years ago, but it was just 6 inches tall. We planted the buckeye 22 years ago from a seed. So you can see that it doesn't take long to grow out beautiful, large native trees. And these trees are such a pleasure. I was just saying this morning to our team here working on the program that as I was looking out the window over my computer screen, we saw 2 orioles in the buckeye right outside of our window. All right, so here's California lilac, and they're some of our most fragrant and colorful shrubs. These are keystone species for sunny areas, you remember. Our California native lilacs are evergreen. They provide the garden with structure and stability throughout the year. Their purple-blue flowers are magnets for butterflies and native bees. California lilacs are available as ground covers and mid-sized shrubs, and some forms can reach 20 feet in height. 117 species of lepidopterans can lay their eggs on California lilac. So this is a shrub that I've been wondering, the taller ones like Ray Hartman and other tall species, if they could not be used as street trees in parking strips or, in front yards. They get 20 feet tall, they're beautiful, and they're great for wildlife. Here's the silver bush lupine. This evergreen perennial silver bush lupine is one of my favorite native plants. It's showy, fragrant, it's beautiful. Silver bush lupine blooms from spring to August. The flowers are light blue to violet. They're lovely against the silver white leaves. 75 species of butterflies and moths can lay their eggs on silver bush lupine. We'll go now to Manzanitas. Along with California lilac, Manzanitas are the workhorses of the garden. Manzanitas are evergreen. They have gorgeous bark. They're lovely in all seasons. And Manzanitas are early bloomers. Their delicate urn-shaped flowers appear in late winter or early spring and provide benefits to native bees and hummingbirds that are looking for sustenance at that time of year. Like the California lilac, Manzanitas can be found in all sizes, from prostrate forms to tall shrubs. The photo on the left was taken in Al Kite's garden in Moraga, and you could see this garden on May the 1st. 68 species of butterflies and moths can lay their eggs on Manzanitas. So we'll talk about the buckwheats now. This is a mix of our locally native cream-colored naked buckwheat and the rosy buckwheat, which is from the Channel Islands. Buckwheat flowers appear in dense clusters. They last a long time, and when they're done blooming, they turn a beautiful rust or chocolate color that brings interest to the garden in fall. Buckwheats tend to bloom in the summer and early fall, so they help stretch out the color in your garden. Buckwheats attract butterflies, bees, birds, and they're deer resistant. 56 species of butterflies and moths can lay their eggs on buckwheat. The coyote brush is fast-growing, evergreen, deer-resistant, an excellent habitat plant as it offers food and shelter to a wide variety of insects. It can be found in a ground cover form or as a shrub. The shrub makes a good hedge. 38 species of lepidopterans, which is the shortcut term for butterflies and moths, can lay eggs on coyote brush. This is one of my favorite plants too. I just love coyote brush. This path is lined with penstemon, a long-lived perennial that bears showy violet flowers on long spikes. Penstemon is blooming in my yard right now. 30 species of lepidopterans can lay their eggs on penstemon. So here are photos of non-native ornamentals: cosmos, hot lip sage, pride of Madeira, lavender. You might have these or other non-native ornamentals in your own garden, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, I have a lot of non-native ornamentals in my garden and the butterflies and bees love them. And the analogy that comes to my mind is, well, what if you and I could have all the free coffee at Starbucks that we wanted, but we couldn't reproduce? We would soon have a population crash also. As Doug Tallamy pointed out, butterflies and moths can only lay their eggs on certain specific and really very few kinds of plants. It's not a shortage of nectar that's a problem for them, it's places to reproduce. So you've probably heard of Marie Kondo and her Does It Spark Joy method of decluttering a home. I hope that after this morning's talk, you'll take a Marie Kondo look at your own garden and ask yourself, does this non-native ornamental give me joy? If it does, then keep it. And if it does not, then consider replacing it with a California native plant that will provide food, shelter, and nesting areas for wildlife. If you've heard any of Doug's other talks, and you can by going to the Bringing Back the Native Garden Tours YouTube channel, and there's a Doug Tallamy talk pinned to the top, he said that for birds to successfully reproduce, they need 70% native plant cover in a garden. And that's in order to provide them with enough caterpillars to feed their babies, so they're not spending so much time flying around looking for food. When birds do nest in gardens that have less native plant cover than that, their nestings are not as successful as they should be. They have higher mortality in their chicks. They have fewer eggs. The chicks have lower birth weights. All the bad things happen when creatures try to reproduce in suboptimal areas. So really, one of the things that we can all do right away is just start planting or planting native plants in our own gardens. So if you're wondering where you can buy native plants, you can check out the nonprofit Native Here Nursery in Berkeley. Local native plants provide the best habitat for our local wildlife. Native Here is run by volunteers. You can contact Native Here to see how you can join their knowledgeable team, learn about local California native plants for your own garden, and help Native Here achieve its mission of restoring local gardens and parklands. I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Native Here Nursery, your source for locally native plants in Alameda and Contra Costa counties, for supporting the tour. Native Here is an all-volunteer project of the California Native Plant Society's East Bay chapter, and it's dedicated to growing plants from ethically collected seed and cuttings from Alameda counties. You can visit Native Here online at nativeherenursery.org for information about gardening with locally native plants, ordering plants for curbside pickup if you'd like to do that, or to find out the hours when you can shop in person. If you have questions or if you'd like to volunteer, you can send a note through the website or call 510-549-0211.